So we've just been catching up, and we've realised, it's been a weekend, and we've done a little bit. But just how's it gone? I know you haven't done every day, but you've done some stuff. So where are you up to?
So where am I up to? I'm halfway through chapter 4 of it is 36 chapters. So that's what ninth of the way through, or no, something like that. And I need to speed up, so I've got to really focus, because I think I just want to have got through all of this by midway through the week, so I can print it off, read it again, and play with it, because it's really not. I'm sort of, what I'm doing is, I had a very linear structure, and which is kind of helping, because I've started the book from what was the third part of the book, and I've started it from there. And so now I'm going back to the first bit of the book and sort of weaving bits of that in and making it go through, which is tricky. So far I've got up to chapter 3, and all the bits I've taken from the beginning worked really well with what I've been doing. But I've on chapter 4, and I picked out a bit, and I thought, oh no, this doesn't work. So I've got to now rewrite that bit and put the bit that I'd picked out later, or maybe get rid of it, or I don't know really, because actually looking at it was a bit repetitive anyway. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, it has been, every time I've sat down to do something's happened this weekend, and I've got distracted, and I got very distracted this afternoon in the garden, but that's actually quite good, because it makes me feel better, and gardening is very good thinking time for me. So well, actually it's not good thinking, it's I don't think when I'm gardening, but I think it's really good. It allows the bit of your brain that processes everything to formulate stuff, so when you come back to it, you're a bit freer. And I have realized, even just these last 3 days, what has really been interesting for me is that I have not had that processing time. I do not at the moment, with the way being in lockdown is, and working and being 9 to 5. There is no processing time anymore, because I don't have time on the train. I don't have time at lunch where I go out and sit in a cafe. I can't, when I'm not at work. Normally I go and sit in cafes. I have been out and about quite a lot, doing lots of walking, but I haven't been in the garden very much, because although I have done gardening over the winter more than normal, but I haven't, the last 3 weeks it's been cold and wet, and you can't even dig because it's been too fucking frosty. So now, like today was like a proper, like, oh yeah, I'm in the garden properly, and I just feel like it's been a bit of a zing moment for me. So I'm hoping now I actually have a week free, that I might be able to do it. That's what I'm
Excellent.
hoping.
That's good. That's good. Well, you're further ahead than me, and in fact, I discovered yesterday when I was looking after we talked about how many chapters. I thought, oh, actually, I've got 36 chapters as well. Funnily enough, because yeah, I didn't.
That's very twinny and odd.
Because my numbering was all out when I came and counted it. I have 9 sections with 4 chapters in each section, so that's 36.
Oh, I have it the other way around. You see, I have 4 chapters with 9 sections.
There you go. How interesting. But anyway, sort of neat twinly thinking. But I sort of like had a lots of struggle when we were talking about, I ordered the wrong laptop and had to kind of sort that out, so that distracted me yesterday morning. But I did get going yesterday afternoon, but then today I've just been very distracted, but some of the things that I've been distracted by have been quite pertinent to the story. So we were talking a bit about Jo Wiley and her sister with learning disabilities, who's suffering from COVID at the moment, and there's a whole thing going on at the moment about people with learning disabilities not getting vaccinations, and it sort of really fits with one aspect of my story, where I've got a character whose brother has learning disabilities and isn't getting the health treatment he's needed, which is sort of a theme of my career when I was working with people with learning disabilities, and something I worked really hard to get, and I feel we've kind of gone back in time over. So I've sort of found, just personally, just very involved in that story, because of all the work I've done with people with learning disabilities in the past, and having family member with learning disabilities. But also, it's just also made me think, well, this part of the story actually is telling something so quite truthful and quite important, I hope. So
I think so. No, I think you're probably right, because, like you were saying earlier, when we were talking about this earlier on, I actually didn't realise till this week, and it has really, really shocked me, that people with learning disabilities weren't in the first wave of injections, because I just assumed that they were. And it really has shocked me that they're not.
Yeah, and I hope that, and I think,
Really shocked me.
you know, somebody like Joey Wiley and other people I know have done a really good job of getting it on the attention, and I just really hope her sister pulls through, because she's
Yeah,
best.
awful for her.
But that aside, the other thing I did yesterday was my opening chapter has a character who has is pretty agoraphobic, because she's lived in the house for a long time, and she's motivating herself to go out of the house. And I spent all afternoon rewriting this chapter yesterday, and it's sort of it was kind of one of those things. I did do a little kind of quick thing on Twitter of just like, you know, I literally looked at the word enthusiastic, took it out, put in eagerness or eagerly, and then put it out again, returned to enthusiastic, and I still don't know which one was better, but there you go. But I did stop that at one point, because I that sort of bit sort of slightly inspired by The Machine Stops by Ian Forster, which is a really fantastic short story. And so I went and reread that yesterday, and I love Ian Forster, and he was real visionary, and he writing 100 years ago about a world where everybody lived in little rooms, and nobody goes out, and the machine controls everything, and nobody goes above the surface. And then this character comes to see his mother, and she's really horrified at the idea of him going to see her. It's a very clever story, and it's sort of, and there's a whole thing about the power they give to the machine, and what a theme that's really in Forster's writing is about divorcing ourselves from nature and putting technology in charge. He was writing at a time when he didn't even know where we'd end up with technology.
No.
I find that amazingly prescient. But anyway, that it was good to reread that story, because that's really helped me think about that character a little bit.
On that, that's what I think was one of the interesting things about the last few months, particularly over the winter lockdown, is so where I live, it's a very, very, very deep, very heavily populated area, but we have lots of green space, and our green spaces are so busy. I've never seen them so busy. And I think, you know, if there is some good to have been had in the last year, is that actually people are getting back and connecting with nature again. Because one of the things I've really interests me is that how much I have noticed about the change of the seasons where I live, and I don't think I ever have before. So I think that's something for my next book, because I think that's a really interesting area to explore.
Yeah, and I think it also touches in my book as well, because I've had the same experience. I think it's sort of similar for lots of people, and part of my thing, although I mean I was laughing because we were talking on WhatsApp earlier on about gardening and with our friends, and a couple of us were saying how crap we are at gardening, and you know, you're very good at gardening.
I love gardening.
But I have actually got two of my characters are massive gardeners, and that's going to be a theme in this book as well.
Well, if you need any advice, darling,
I certainly will be asking you for. So, on that note, plans for tomorrow.
I'm planning to get up and start work at 7:30.
Woo! Well, I will try and see if I can join you.
Whether I will or not is another matter, but that's my plan, because I think I need to get out early. I'm meeting a friend for a walk at 1:50, and I want to get as much under my belt as I can. And yeah, I just want to sort of plow through, because I feel I need to sort of just plow through and do what I do, and then go back and look at it. So I need enough time. I need to get as much that I need enough time in this week to have got that done, relook at it, and then tighten it up. And because there's a bit of me going, fuck, it's all shit, but that always happens, and I have to remind myself that.
At some point we'll talk a little bit about your book, but I think we're running out of time here. So what we'll do is you're inspiring me tomorrow, so let's get up early and speak tomorrow. See you then. So
don't think too much of this.
Bye.